Oh, look at this. Half a dozen people here already. Good morning, good morning. Half a dozen people. 2 of you. Okay. Hello, hello. All set. Monday morning, another week starts. First? What do you mean first? There's 10 comments before yours. I wish when the chat came open or when you first accessed the page, I wish it showed you the last couple of minutes. Good to be back. Me or you? I'm going to send a message from my daughter there. Paper is out. Yes, thank you, Karen-san. Paper's out. Ayumi is coming today. Ayumi-san. Okay. You know what we're after today? We're going to continue exactly with the work we've been doing. And we're going to finish this one in a few minutes, and we'll then move on and start another one. Excuse me, I've got a catch in my throat this morning. So a few minutes work. Just the last couple of minutes before the stream started, I did the noisy part. So I'm sorry. Oshibori guy is indeed early today. He's early today. He's got a new assistant too. I think he's training somebody. The older guy's been pretty much standing back, watching and directing, while the young guy hustles and hustles. Okay, let's get some work done. Get this one cleared, then we'll start a new color separation sheet. The outside mic is off at the moment. I wonder, those guys with the Oshibori, those towels, they've picked up all the towels from the last couple of days here. I wonder if they're taking any precautions, whatever, about the virus or whatever. They're picking up a bunch of used towels that people have wiped their faces with. And they're just, baskets of towels. They don't seem to be doing anything specific. It's not like medical waste or anything, so I don't know. Not quite sure if that's the job I'd want right now. I guess the washing thing, I'm sure they're going to go through extreme hot water, sterilized, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure the washing thing is okay, but the guy's picking them up now. I don't know. Looks like we're going to have a quiet morning out there today. So, Monday morning, it's actually a holiday. Well, it's not a holiday. It's a holiday, but not a holiday. Excuse me. The real holiday is tomorrow, Tuesday. This is a Monday morning after the long weekend. But because they didn't want to make the holiday Saturday, Sunday break, and then Tuesday, they've moved it to a Monday. The holiday still actually is Tuesday, and I think banks and stuff are closed tomorrow. But they've asked people to move the holiday day of it, the activity day of it, to today, to give it a long weekend feel. I don't quite know the the legal nuance of this here. But okay, let's get in a bit closer. Is Aimi-san bringing the little one in today? No, I doubt that very much. I know. The reason she'll be able to be here today, or she's chosen to be here today, is because I guess her husband has probably got a day off, and he'll be at home with the Rugrats. I guess. I don't know. I can't imagine Aimi-san will bring the kid today. It's just, it hasn't been practical. I know. Maybe when a kid is old enough to sit in a corner and read a book for 5 or 6 hours at a time, that's okay. But not when they're 1 or 2 years old and they need attention. It's just impossible to print under those circumstances, of course, We sort of semi-tried it when she first had her baby. What was that? 2 odd years ago. We set up a space in the middle room. We set up some curtains and a private area and a bit of a sort of a semi-play zone. And she had a bench next to it, but it just didn't work. She couldn't get more than like 10 seconds at a time. And we've had a bunch. There's been 4 babies this spring here at Mokuhankan, but they're not all printers. Only one of them has been from a printer. So. Kira-san had her baby, Audrey, the French girl, in the print parties. Maybe many of you met her. She had a baby a couple of weeks ago. Marcela-san, the Mexican lady who was doing our print parties, she had her baby. It's 3 months ago now, I guess. Kira-san, who else? I forget, there's so many of them, I'm just stacking up. Cameron and Catherine had a baby back in the spring. They're multiplying. One of my own daughters is pregnant again. She's going to have a baby in October. So Kira-chan, so Karen, you didn't know. Okay, Kira-san had a young little boy, Milo-chan. Actually, I've only seen the name in writing. She sent me an email. It's Milo, which I would assume is Milo. Maybe it's Milo, I don't know. Marcela-san had Benjamin, and Audrey-san had Florentine, without an E at the end. I don't know how to pronounce it. Florentin. We sent pictures around on the inside staff memo, but some of them didn't want the pictures, public and stuff. So I didn't. I have no public information on that for you. But maybe some of the Facebook pages they've put their own baby pictures up. I don't know. What about Pinmaker and Matchmaker? The matchmaking. In these particular cases, only one of those has any relevance to Mokuhankan being a matchmaker. Kira-san was already married when she came here. She's got a partner. He works for an anime video / connected company. Marcella had a partner long before she came here, nothing to do with us. But Audrey, the French girl, there is a Mokuhankan aspect to that. I can't. Whatever, private story or whatever. Anyway, a young man who she met here, or he met her here at a print party. And one thing led to another. He came back for some more parties, and boy, this guy's really interested in print parties. It turned out that wasn't quite what he was interested in, but whatever. So yeah, Mokuhankan did have a handle in that, and there's the little boy, Florentin, I don't know the pronunciation. He exists in this world, and part of the chain of his existence is this place, Mokuhankan here. If I hadn't started this shop, you know, he wouldn't exist. You know, it's just whatever. My head explodes when I think about that, you know, but whatever. I mean, anytime we do something in society, we cross the street, we bump into somebody, they go down the left street instead of the right, they get hit by a car. You know, we can't tell. It's the butterfly thing. Just everything we do in society has an effect on other people. And some of the larger things we do, you know, starting a business, opening a shop, doing stuff like this, has lots of effects on people. So yeah, there are people who are alive today, and perhaps the other way around, who I don't know. Andy's giant baby, another one. Okay, I don't think I had much of a hand in that one, right? babies, you know. My daughter sent me a photograph. Yesterday, one of my daughters, they went over to see my mother, and they had a bit of a family gathering. It's the first time since the lockdown stuff was all on. So they sent me a photograph, and it's my mother in the middle, who is now the matriarch. I was going to say patriarch. She's the matriarch of this family, clearly, you know. My mother in the middle, and my two daughters, my two grandsons from one daughter, and my granddaughter, and one bun in the oven from the other daughter. So. And everybody on that bench, on that picture, there's my mother, my two daughters, my two grandsons, the two granddaughters. Everybody in there, those are the people on this planet that I share DNA with, you know. I have a brother and a sister who were not in that picture, but, you know. We can show it, I guess, right? It's okay. It's just a family picture. People these days get so nervous about, I don't know, showing stuff on the internet, but I can show my family's picture to show. Desktop. Yeah, I think my mother used to phone in here on Skype. I don't even know if I know how to punch that in yet here. Here, this might come in too big. Let's have to shrink it down. Here we are. So, it's okay to show. There. It's, of course, we know which one is which. My mother's in the middle. She may be here today. Hi, Mom, if you're here. My mother in the middle. And on her left is Himi, my older daughter. And at the far left of the picture is Humi, my other daughter, with her daughter Claire and a bun in the oven. Then the two boys, of course, are Himi's boys. And they are big. They're big. I don't know the dates. I know 15 and 13, 14 and 12, something like that. I really don't know. I'm sorry, not to be a bad granddad here, but I don't know the date and months and stuff like this. And it's funny, I asked my mom about this. What's the deal? No masks, no socially distancing, whatever. And she said, no, they had been really good. They had their picnic out there. They sat apart from each other. They didn't do any hugging. And just for 1 minute, they came together, click for a picture, and then sort of dispersed again. So I'd like to have been there, but I can't. Whatever. Not sure when it's going to come around to get over there again. It has a bunch of different DNA in there, you know. Boy, oh boy, is there a bunch of different DNA in there. Mine is just Northern England generic stuff. Whether that means there's any Scandinavian Viking in there, I don't know. Just Northern England. And almost certainly it's going to be mixed with some Irish/Scottish in there somewhere. You can't come from a place like north of England without having that stuff mixed in. And of course, it was the other half of the DNA is from the Japanese girl I met. Then my daughters kept spreading it around. My younger daughter married a typical Canadian guy, so he's probably Canadian. Again, I think there's Irish or something in the background of theirs because of the immigration to North America. And then my older daughter, the boy she married was from Eastern Europe. So that's all over. So we're as mixed as pretty much you can get, I guess, without having any obvious African or something in there. I don't know about that, but... For years I've thought about this, the DNA stuff and the testing and things, it's still pretty early days on that. But at some point, I guess, you stick your finger in a machine and 10 seconds later it tells you what different parts of the world are in there, how far back. I've never bothered to get into that stuff, but that would be cool. Have you started the plans again? Is that it? How long it's taken me to learn Japanese? It's an ongoing process. I'm not studying. I'm just using the language as I live here, and it's not cringeworthy so much anymore. But I can communicate. But how long did it take? It's an ongoing process. I won't be finished by the time I check out. Clearly. Have I tried bone carving? I know nothing about that whatsoever. Nothing. okay, almost finished this. There's one corner there, one corner here. We'll be finished and we'll move on to the next block. Totally different process after this is done. For those of you who are beginners here, we'll see how a color separation starts from the beginning. This is the end of the process of making one color block. We'll start in a few minutes at the beginning of the process of making another color block. And it indeed is quiet out there. I guess it's because it's a holiday. I know. So none of the commercial stuff is up and running, and the bars and restaurants won't be open till later today. So it's quiet, and we didn't see any kids go by, I guess, right? So maybe the kindergartens and daycare center up there is closed today. Against the grain, look at that. Are we done? Can you see any missed spots? Are we done? Okay, again, for the people here who don't really have quite much of an idea about what's going on, let's give a recap of what's happening here. This is one piece of wood among many, a bunch, 10 or so, that will be used to make a wood block print. What we've got here. Here's an old, about 100-year-old woodblock print. It's a reproduction. It's a woodblock print, but it's a reproduction of one made in the Edo time. And what we're doing is we're borrowing part of this image, these two boys here, and I've photocopied this, traced it inside, produced a tracing of it, and carved the outlines of the image. And you can see two boys here, just the outlines. The lines of their body, the lines of the bucket, their faces. It's the black line part of what you see here. But in order to make a finished image like this, we need the black line piece, and we also need pieces of wood for every one of the colors. If you can perhaps see what we've done here, you can see where there's a bucket and various parts, and this is the block that will print the bucket and parts of the fabric and the base here. This has got a green yellow tone on it. It doesn't matter at the moment, just simply I drew that to help me figure out where to carve. The color we're going to use later could be red, blue, pink, purple, it doesn't make any difference. So there's the key block with its bucket and one color block. And in order to make that colored picture that we saw before, it has blue, it has a pink, it has a red, it has a yellow, it has many different colors. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll be making a set of wood blocks that print together to make a finished print. So what we're going to do next is we are going to prepare a few days ago, a few weeks ago, I took that key block, the black line block you just saw, and I made a number of impressions from it. And we're going to use one of these right now. And we're going to turn this into the background area behind the boys. You guys are in, talking about passports. It's okay, you're busy. Did I decide about keeping the sash? Oh, you mean that mistake up at the top corner? No, I haven't even thought about that. That's where this thing here, I haven't even thought about that. I think what we might do is, it's part of the Tasky to show, we'll probably leave it in the color block. We'll see when we get there. Okay, people are bugging me to use the red ones, so I'll use the red ones. Not people, somebody. So again, for those who aren't sure what's going on here, this is going to be the block that prints the background color behind these boys. So we want to leave the background area and we want to scoop away the boy area so it doesn't get covered with pigment that we use for the background color. So I'm going to just mark here at the moment the areas that we want to keep on this block. So we've had oshibori, this is the Korean hot dog garbage pickup. What's next on today's schedule? Outside. I guess the vacuum cleaning lady from the hotel across the street, she must be next up. telling stories. Okay. As you're getting this ready now, I'm going to paste this down in a minute and then peel it off. And those of you who've been watching these a long time, you'll know the current Gumpi that we're using is this super thin stuff that doesn't peel worth a damn. But the other day, on the stream here, Karen posted her new print. And when I was scrolling through the page there to see her print, I noticed she'd posted a video on her website there about a peel. And it's glorious. It's 20 out of 10. It's fantastic. 20 out of 10. I don't know if we saw it, if anybody's seen this, but that page that Karen posted the other day, there's a peel video. You're not going to see me do a good peel today, but as a makeup, you can watch her do a 20 out of 10. Karen, was that a YouTube link? Is she here still or is she gone? I don't even remember where I saw it. It must have been on that page that she sent us the other day with her new print. Is Karen here? Is she gone? Karen, was it a YouTube link buried in your page there? If it is, can you pop it in, please? It's fun. It was good fun. I thought it was a tiny bit cheating. You didn't let me see the beginning part where you picked it up. She's looking for it. Okay. Here we are, YouTube link. Which Gumpi is this, Karen? Look at it, perfect, Michelle. What's the score on that one? You should have told us about this. Everybody's so shy. I know this is my stream and my channel and stuff like that, but nobody has to worry about horning in. If you've got information like this that's of interest to the other people on the stream and chat, please show this. People are very kind. They don't want to horn in. This is David's stream. You can't link your own stuff, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Ask about it. Just post it. It's clearly of interest to everybody here. I'm long past the stage where I would have been shown up. Oh my God, she's doing it better than I'm doing it. I don't care. But what was the Gumpi? Is there an answer here? It's got to be thick stuff to show. Oh, the thick one. Yeah. Okay. So, it's so thick. You can see in that video of her, she's pulled that off. And the thing she's pulled off is a print. You could put it on your website and sell it. It's a print. Now, somebody asked a minute ago about the mistake that I made earlier, that boy, and I do actually have to think about this now. Let's zoom in here and talk about this. The other day when I was working on the key block doing the clearing, we had different bits of paper stuck on the block, and it turned out that I chopped off a bit of wood. Oops, too far. And I do have to make a decision on this now. Well, I can punt a little bit. Where's the design? The design has the boy, he's wearing a tasky. It's a cord of thread rolled around. And you can see that it should have been a line right here. But by the time I got all my work done and cleaned off here, there's a piece missing on mine. And there's 3 or 4 options. One is just to completely leave it alone. Just leave it as it is, go ahead, do the background, do the red, do whatever. I was sort of semi-joking about people. What I could do is if I cut off this line and cut off these, and we would just leave it so that the boy, that's where he ended, you know. Nobody would ever know. And it wouldn't matter. I mean, the guy who designed this thing has been dead for 150 years. So I'm still of 2 minds what to do. To go back in there and fix it now, it's awfully close to the face, and if I start inlaying wood, there's really a possibility of making more damage than I fix. So we could do it. We could do a repair stream. An easy way would be to drill a hole, put it in. I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to fix it right now. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to carve this background block a little bit too big. I'm going to carve the background block so that it includes this space here. And then tomorrow or then next week or whatever, I will do the block for the tasky. I will also carve it on there. So for the color blocks, I'll put it on both of these blocks, which will leave me the options later on for fixing it. I know everybody wants to see a repair, and if we do a repair, then I'll cut it off this block later. But for now, to keep my options open, I'm going to leave it there. Okay, I need your help before we move on to the next step here. Do you think this is now ready to go and ready to paste down, or have I missed any areas? Let's take it a kid at a time. If I went ahead and carved this now, leaving the red places, carving everything else away, I think there's an area we've missed here. Not on this boy, but on the other boy. Do you see what I'm talking about? Has anybody got it? Space for that. Yes. So this thing, I think, is background. I'm not 100% sure of this. It could be fabric hanging down. His kimono could be hanging down, but I'm thinking this is background. I'm not 100% sure of that. Yeah, I guess it looks better that way, right? It's open. On the original, yeah, we can see it. Yes, there it is. His legs are white paper. His kimono is what it is, and the background is something else. So there we go. But my God, that's the kind of stuff that's so easy to forget. So easy. Do we have it now? No more? Nothing in there. I think we're good to go. Looks like maybe on the left boy's right leg. Left boy's right leg. What do you mean now? Left boy as when you look at it, left boy's right leg? Or in the actual print, this is the left boy. Left boy's right leg. You don't mean under here? There's no way. That's not going to be background. There's no way. No way. Or here? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we're okay. I think we are good to go. We have a block, and it's already carved. I don't know why. What did I do? I started something else on this and changed my mind? I don't remember. I think we are good to go. Oops, no water. Excuse me a sec, get some water. It's kind of a meme, isn't it? The teacher walks away for a minute and the kids play. Oh. I did a bunch of these the other day, for another job. I had to send the color separations to Kawasaki-san for the print. What is it, number 11? And I'm using up the same Gumpy. I'm trying to use up the 3mm Gumpy. I told you before, when I bought the last batch, I bought 10 sheets of 5 and 10 sheets of 3. And to show off on the stream, I was using just the 5, just the 5, just the 5. And then I got nothing left but the 3. So when I did the Kawasaki-san's work the other day, I had to do 4 blocks, 2 sides. I did 8 of them. This was a week or so ago. It was off stream. I was doing one after the other, and just partway along, what I thought of doing was I upped the level of glue on there. And it might happen here today. Let's see. I shouldn't talk about it before I actually do it. I upped the level of glue a bit to make it really sticky, and then peeled the back sheet off. And the back sheet peeling off did its own peel. It pulled up a bunch of the 3mm, the 3mm Gumpy. So we actually got a peel, but we couldn't see it. I don't know if we can replicate that today. No, it's just going to peel off now. If we had used a bit more of the spray glue on here, it would now pull up a bunch of the Gumpy itself. So. So here we go. No wide peel. I'm just going to clear off here. Look at this. Is there a name for this? I don't know. Look at this. Just peel up the places where I need to be able to see it. This is actually, of course, a traditional way. Nobody does peels here. They just get their fingers wet. We've seen a video of Maida-san doing that back in the 1950s. I just peel enough. So yeah, there's your traditional approach to this. Just peel away the parts, peel back the parts that you need to be able to see. Also too, I didn't chat much about this, but this is fairly, in the early years when I was doing this is the part where I really screwed up quite a lot sometimes, We just took a piece of thin Gumpy. It was fairly stable where it's on the thing. Once it's down, that Gumpy is really thin, and we just put it on a bunch of wet glue. And if I were to take my finger, I'm not going to do it here, if I were to take my finger and rub too hard, we can slide the paper on the glue. And that means, of course, that the careful registration will be totally, completely screwed up. So doing this part, I'm doing it left, right, up, down, moving around, keeping it light. Avoid rubbing in one direction, because you'll slide that paper. And once it's slid, you don't notice it, but you've carved it, and that your registration will never, ever line up. Okay, that'll do it. Looks good for us. Artistic 2 out of 10, technical 9 out of 10. Fair enough. We got the thing done and it didn't look pretty. Is that the idea? Is that your point? I should never have started that thing in the first place, The yellow highlighter, did it run out? Yeah, I remembered, Again, to backtrack on the conversation, in the traditional days, in the old days, they didn't have highlighters. What did they use? They would have got that sheet of paper. We've got video of this. We've got video of Hasui doing this over the Watanabe workshop. They get the Kyogo Zuri, the printed sheets, and then it's brush. It's vermilion water-based pigment was what they used, and with a brush. And it's plus minus. The vermilion pigment, of course, clearly showed the outlines, but it was wet. It was mixed with water. And vermilion pigment rubbing on that paper, you do too much of it, that paper crinkles, it expands, it contracts, and you've lost your registration. So they had to be really be careful. In fact, you saw me imitating a little bit. Look at this. I did the crisscross here instead of actually filling it in all red, because filling it in puts too much liquid. If it wasn't a highlighter, it would be too much liquid and it would distort. So the traditional one was vermilion pigment brushed on. These days we use highlighter because it's not water. It doesn't distort that thing anywhere near as much. And somewhere along the line, I don't even remember why, I started using a yellow one, fell into the habit of doing it, and I did it that way for years and years, even though red is much more visible. And Kawasaki-san, our carver in Kobe, she called me up and said, "Why do you keep using yellow? I can't see those lines, And I'm like, okay, yeah, not a bad idea. So I should be using something like this that has good contrast. Okay, here we go. The next goal is to leave the purple, red, whatever it is, take away everything that's not red. whatever you're going to use for this, it should be something that doesn't blur when it gets wet, because we're putting it down on water-based ink, and if it then blurred, of course, it's game over. So it doesn't matter what you use. There's been people, when they see me doing this at a demo or something, will that be for the purple block? And it's no. The color we see here is absolutely no connection with the color in the finished print. That folder, we should look at this folder one day, full of nice fun prints. Excuse me. Okay. And here in the early days and not so early days, I've made the same mistake any number of times. I intellectually know we're going to leave the red, take away the boy. But the red, there's something about the way it is on the block that makes you want to go like this. Go like this and carve this way, which means leaving the boy, taking away the red. And no, Dave, get it the other way around. We are going to leave the red and take away everything else. But I have made that mistake. I made that same mistake on the Patreon Chibi we were carving a couple of months back. I did a whole bunch, about 2 or 3 centimeters the wrong way. And nobody seemed to notice. Nobody said anything about it. What happened to the lady with the vacuum cleaner? The outside mic, I can put it up a bit, but I'm sure I can hear her sitting at this bench. There's the outside mic going up now a little bit. Yeah, it could be that she's on a day off or rotation. It's a hotel, so there's obviously other staff, but the person who's on that duty today does things on a different schedule, maybe. Yeah, maybe so. Trash Bag Musician. Do I remember this? The Trash Bag Musician. The Shoe Lady still exists. She goes by usually 8 or 10 minutes before the stream starts. Same direction, same shoes, same everything. There's the vacuum. Here we go. There's more local characters that you guys never see, you know. There's a little old lady who comes by every evening between 6 and 7. And she puts food down for a local stray cat. There's a stray cat living in the space between two buildings here, between the kimono shop and the building next door. And she feeds that and then also throws some food to the pigeons. And the guy who is the leader of the Shotengai here, the whale restaurant guy, he's asked her to stop. Because it's like, don't feed the pigeons, but she just ignores them. She's usually here between 6 and 7 in the evenings. Trash bag guy. I don't remember the trash bag guy. I'm sorry. So this is the thing. This is one reason why the people are against her feeding the cat. I know she feeds the cat, and the cat doesn't do any mousing, of course. You know. I guess for her, it's probably mostly the companionship thing. Anyway, I guess I don't know. I can't complain. I wouldn't speak to her about it myself. But today's main work for me after this is finished is upstairs. I have to do some sizing. Kubota-san is waiting for more paper. It's less than a week since I last sent him his previous batch, but he is just working like just a machine running through this stuff. So. And it's not going to be my favorite job today. Up on the 3rd floor, in the back room in the kitchen, there's no air conditioning back there, and it's the concrete roof is open to the sunshine. And on sunny days like this, the sun just beats down. And if we were working up there regularly or something, I guess we'd probably fix up some kind of sprinkler. We could spray water up on the roof or something. But it's going to be hot up there today. Still having rat problems? No, they are in the building. Every now and then I do hear tuk tuk tuk. There's a sound or something here on the first floor, the ceiling above where I sit, clearly there still is a rat presence here. But do we hear them running back and forth, having Olympics every day? No. I'm not sure if it's a seasonal thing. Maybe during the summertime they spend more time out there. I don't know. They have access. The access to the building is behind here. This is the underneath of the staircase, and it's open to the sort of foundations of the building. And there's clearly some kind of cracks in there where they're coming through. And once they're in here, they can't get into the shop itself, but they can be in the space above the ceiling. And they get through there through cracks in the concrete up to the second floor, the space below the floor. So they're around here, but we don't, I know, it's been a long, long time since I saw one. I think I showed you a video once upon a time. I was sitting in my room and they were walking down the hallway. So. I haven't seen any since that time, you know. This is just the way I like it. I don't mind that there are other creatures in the world and stuff like this, but they keep in their place and we keep in ours. If we came up to the shop every morning and found footprints and shit and whatever else off of the floor, that would be unbearable. But that's not the case. They're sticking to their territory. This now, what to do here? We've got hair here. Excuse me, and the background color. So the hair, theoretically, it's like when you're doing, I don't know, Photoshop masking or something. You've got somebody's hair, and then behind it there's a color. How do you do the masking in Photoshop? And I've got the same problem here. Do I run the background color up behind the hair, or do I just chop it off at the end of this so that the hair seems a lighter color? Let me see what he did in the original. I don't know. It's such a small print, nobody will even notice. He brought it up under the hair. So the guy who carved this one, he brought the background color up to the edge of the face. So the hair comes over the background. And the same thing here, this guy, the red color of that person behind him comes underneath the hair. So, okay. We'll follow that path. Here's the first part of it. We've isolated the boy. We will come in later with some bigger chisels and we will chop out the central area. But for now, let's keep going. Who's the guy on the post outside? All the people on the posts outside on the street, these are old-time comedians from the early Showa, perhaps even sometimes going back to the Taisho era here in Japan. This street used to be full of theaters and vaudeville outfits and strip shows and stuff like that. There's very little of that left here, but that's the history of this street. So they've put up on the lampstands, they've put up pictures of the people who were famous here through that era. And when I visited Vancouver, when was it? I don't know, in February or something. My daughter and I, we were walking down Granville Street, and they had some sort of star thing, and there were stars in the concrete all along the sidewalk there, and it was people who were famous in the whatever music and scenes and whatever. And they've done the same thing here. These are very nostalgic. Someone my age would barely remember them. Someone my parents' age here in Japan would know these people very, very well. These are people that were famous through the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that era. And the most famous picture on the street isn't a picture. Maybe we can see it actually. Yeah, we can. We can see it actually. So, you see the, what can I see? Right bang in the middle of the outside view, there's a blue awning. There's a picture of a whale on it. It's the Whale Restaurant. If you look just to the right of the blue awning, let me pop this up a little bit just for a second to make it larger. If I pop this up just for a second. Okay, you see the blue awning, the Whale Restaurant, in the middle of the scene. There's a lamp standard just to the right of that, and you can see there's the picture where somebody's face should be is blank. It's just a name. It doesn't say the name. It says Yoyaku Zumi. Means Yoyaku is a reservation, and Zumi means finished, arranged. So reservation is arranged. They know who's going to go in there. And the story goes, we hear it every day, the rickshaw cart people tell all their customers, that they asked the person, most of the people on these lamp standards are dead already, but this person is still alive. They asked him, hey, can we put your picture up? Because this street is where you got your start, right? And he says, yeah, I worked in the theater right across the street from there. That's where I got my start. No picture. They're saying, like, why not? Why not? No picture over my dead body. And they said, okay. So they're just waiting for him to die. And you know who it is. It's the guy you know overseas as Takeshi Kitaro. Is that his name in the West? Here he's called Beat Takeshi here in Japan. Beat Takeshi. And overseas, what is it? Because he's known for his grotesque movies. I know. What's the guy's name? Beat Takeshi in Japanese, but in English, Kitaro. Takeshi Kitaro, I don't know. Takeshi Kitano, hi. Anyway, that's the spot. It's reserved for him. And it's really, really funny. The rickshaw cart people come by. They stop at the entrance to this street off to the right where you can't see on this one today. And they do their spiel explaining what this street is and what these pictures are about and stuff like that. Then they roll down, and not so much nowadays these days, but going back to last autumn, they would come into the street and they would stop in front of our shop first and point to the poster of one of our Ukiyo-e Heroes prints that we have there. And people are going, ooh, that's the place, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Then they roll a little further down the street and they stop in front of Takeshi's thing, and the rickshaw cart driver has a quiz. Who do you think this is? There's a reservation. And like the people don't have a clue. So it's one of the explanation points for the tourists here on this street. So. But maybe he's the youngest. The rest are really, really old. They go way, way back. Some will come out. Saksay is indeed empty at 9 o'clock in the morning, absolutely. Not a morning place, especially not weekend. How's our time here? 9:14. Soka. Itane. What I brought this morning is a continuation. Remember a few weeks ago, was it a few weeks ago already? A few weeks ago I brought a book down. I had been confused about the title. And it was a 2-volume book, and we looked at volume 1. I thought today I would just bring down volume 2. And in the meantime, I did some research. That's the wrong word for it. I didn't do any research at all. I Googled up a little bit. I did some research on this book, and I can find nothing at all that explains the title. The conundrum we had when I showed you this book the other day. The title seems to be a book of the children of Edo. And there's no children involved, but it is people of the town having fun, goofing off at shrine festivals and stuff like that. So I can only assume it's a usage of the word children that just, whatever is much more general, meaning the people of the town in a light-hearted activity mood. And for some reason, the word that they used for children at that time made sense. It doesn't seem to make sense to us now, but whatever. Word usage, of course, changes. So. It could have been that. I don't really think, it's not acting like children. I mean, they're going to a shrine. Part of it was quite serious. The New Year holiday, they're making their first, visit to the shrine. It isn't really like goofing off and playing around. It was just simply non-work activities. A festival activity or a shrine visit, stuff like this. Let me just get a bit more of this done. Okay. Okay, about these color blocks, you saw me a few minutes ago start this one. Took the transfer sheet, painted it on, pasted it down, carving around. You can see I'm pretty much almost all the way now going around the edge here. I've taken my knife, I've gone round the edge. Once that's finished, chisels out in the middle. If I wasn't doing other work this afternoon, I'm going upstairs to do sizing now. If I wasn't going to interrupt for other work, you could see that this is just a couple of hours work to do this color block. Just a couple of hours work. So with the woodblock printmaking like this, it really, although people think of it as a really old-fashioned, oh my God, it's so slow, why don't you use CNC machines and this kind of stuff? It's actually very, 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 excuse me, it's really quite efficient in its own world. It's really quite efficient. Okay, let's look at the show and tell. We have 10 minutes left. Let's have a look at that book. Don't forget, of course, I've got to go around. I'm not finished. We've got to get around all of this. Then I've got to go around the outside, cut away the outside, cut away the boys. But it's quick, efficient work if you don't fool around chatting with people too much. Okay, let's have a look at that book we looked at last week. Here's the 2 volumes again. And just to give an overview of what we're looking at. The books you see on the desk in front of me right now are almost exactly 100 years old. They're 103 years old. They were carved and printed in 1917. I think 1970. We go through our daily routine about the dates here. This is Taisho 6. So it was made in the teens. And everything you see here, everything, the lettering on the top, the lettering on the cover, you can see the lettering in the preface here. This was carved on wood, and the pictures as well were all carved on wood. Everything you see is a complete woodblock production. But this is a reproduction. In other words, there was an original book, and that was in the 1830s or something. I've forgotten now. We looked at it the other day. It doesn't say, it doesn't have the date on it here. It was in about the 1820s or 1830s or so. It was the original version. And this company back in the Taisho era thought they'd make a replica version and sell it, which they did. They did quite carefully. And now here we are, 100 years later, I have this. And they did something that was a bit quite strange. The original book, every page of it was a spread. And it's a single picture. It's a single image, but printed on 2 sets of wood blocks so that they could put it on separate sheets of paper for binding. And the original version had a very narrow gutter. So the picture on the right and the picture on the left sort of, made some sense. But here, this Taisho era reproduction doesn't have that. They've really, really enlarged the gutter. And they did this not just for this book, but for all the other books in the series that they made. And I have no idea why they did this. It turns them into two completely separate pictures. I can't make the mental leap and join them into a single image. Let's go to the front of the book. We looked at part 1 last week. It's called Up and Down. I mean, it doesn't seem to make much sense, but it makes sense in Japanese. Joge, you start here. If there were 3 volumes, it would be Jo, starting, Chu, medium, and then finishing with Ge. Jo, Chu, Ge. But we see right now, Jo, Ge, literally up, down, part 1, part 2. We looked at part 1 the other day. Let's just flip through part 2 here today. And there are 6 scenes. This is from, what have we got? Let me just check what we've got here. We've got 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6. We have an introduction kind of picture. So there's 6 months plus an intro picture. And I have not studied this before showing this to you. I haven't done out and done all my research. This book is well documented online. If you Google the words Toyohiro, the man's name is Toyohiro, and if you Google Toyohiro Azuma, it's Nishiki Ehon, picture book, Azuma Wakaba. And this was the word that seems to be confusing everybody. It relates to children. Why they did that split, I don't know. Anyway, well, what have we got here? We have, I believe these are doll actors to show. We have a doll here. Yes, this is a doll. It's come out of its case. We have the doll case at the bottom here. This is a doll. These it's not bunraku, I don't think, but this is a very fancy looking doll. And there's a musician. He's got a drum. These are entertainers. There's going to be a dance or something happening here. Entertainers coming in with their doll and their drum. And these, I'm guessing, first guess on what I'm seeing here, these are the ladies of the house where the entertainers are coming in. And this is just the frontispiece. And then after this now, we start the month by month presentation of this. So the first month here, this is July. We saw the first 6 in the last book. And again, I can't get an image of the whole thing. What are we looking at here? It's dark, it's evening, they're on a second floor, a tea house type place. There's a party going on, there's boats out in the night sky. And it says the 26th evening of the 7th month, which presumably has some meaning. And we have a party. We have a party. There's a lady with her shamisen. This guy seems to have been a bit worse for the wear. And there is an explanation which I'm sorry I cannot cleanly, easily read. It's archaic script. Earthquake. And how many blocks? Well, whatever. It's pretty much mostly visible. In a book like this, there wouldn't have been too much overlay, not like they do with Shinhanga. So you could pretty much take what you see here and almost count the number of tones and come up with that many blocks. It's maybe about 12, I'm not sure. I haven't done all the actual counting. And on this one, lots of hair. You know, look at this. Every one of these people has lots and lots of delicate hairlines. It's like the print I'm just making myself, but way more. It's a hot summer night. They're trying to depict the clothing as in a transparent. This guy's got a very transparent type of kimono fabric on. And how would the patterns have been done? They're carved, of course. Everything you see, every shape you see is simply carved in a woodblock, exactly the same way that you see me carving what I'm doing just here. There's a pattern here on this. It's carved out. There's negative patterns like this. And there are positive patterns. You know, a stripe that's carved as a positive pattern to go on top of a base color here. There's a positive pattern. And on her kimono, we see a negative pattern. carved out of the blocks. And everything you see is done by wood. August. And you tell me, what are we doing here? Are we visiting? It's a group of people here again, out visiting some kind of place that has a very old-fashioned kind of fence. I don't know where we are, I'm sorry. Middle of hot summer. But the point about the children, these are all people involved in playtime activities. Nobody's working here. This is fun to carve. It's okay, someone's commenting about this. This is fun. It's just, you just get to it. Detail, takes time. Takes time to carve, but no big deal. Would the people in 1917 have understood this? This is, my guess is yes, much more than we, for a couple of reasons. The text on this thing, they have given help to everybody. All of the kanji have written side by side beside it, helpful hints on how to read it. And in fact, let me skip ahead just for one moment to the afterword. There's sort of a story at the end of this. And all the kanji that are not dead easy that any child could read, all the kanji have readings beside them. Those readings are also actually quite difficult for us to read these days as well. So it was accessible. Absolutely, it was accessible. When I say I can't read it, if I had one of my staff members here to try to read it too, she would say the same thing. Sorry, Dave, I can't much help you with this. I can pick out a kanji here and a kanji there. But none of us today here can read this stuff smoothly. The language hasn't changed much. If somebody was here with this book in his hand, reading to us what it said, any of us here, normal Japanese people, or myself included, we would understand what they were saying, because the language hasn't changed. What's changed is the characters that are used. It's very much a simplified set these days, and the stroking, of course. The modern way of doing it is much more blocky and like metal type. What have we got here? It's a festival scene, I guess, right? We're at a festival somewhere. A market. All that little tiny detail. Everything you see is carved. Look at this. There's people in the background, different shops, different stalls. This is a market scene. It'll be in the temple courtyard. We can see at the back here, there's the dais of the temple itself. This is a temple courtyard, and it's a market scene, absolutely. Festival day of some kind. Endless detail, endless detail. It would have taken a while to carve it, but remember, we're in an era where there are just so many carvers and printers. Back in 1917, when this was made, there were hundreds of carvers and thousands of printers working. And these guys were fast. I mean, even I myself know this. I told you earlier, I'm sending work out to Kubota-san. And like 3-4 days later, the batch is back. And I'm like, what did you do? And he says, I just did the job, This is now up to the 10th month. This is October. Clothing is getting heavier now. And we're out. So this is an excursion out, presumably to see maple leaves. We've got just a hint of orange and stuff in the background. They're not interested in showing us the maple leaves. They're interested in showing us the people. And here, obviously, there's a palanquin. What's the word in English for these things? A kago. This group has come out to the countryside. Again, very expensive, high-class people. So here's the handle of the thing, and there's the kago in the background, the palanquin. These are upper class people out for an excursion. It's interesting. The thrust of the book is really about the people, now that I think about it, to show every scene we see here. So maybe the original book, this was really a bit more of a little bit of a peek. What are the upper classes doing? What are they wearing? What do they do on their day off? That sort of stuff. Because there's not even bothering to show us the maple leaves. Nobody cares about this. They want to see the clothing and the people and the activities. What the rich people were up to. And here it's the same thing. We're back at another temple and another festival. Yeah, John's got it, lifestyles of the rich and famous, when they're fooling around, We saw the party scene upstairs in the tea house. This looks like what we see at Sensoji Temple these days at the New Year's time. They've got the big cage around it. People throw their money into the cage. Is that what we're seeing here? I don't know. I'm sorry. Clearly, we're at a temple. And then the last one, end of the year, and it's the Omisoka, the last evening of the New Year, I think, before the New Year's. And it is jammed. Absolutely jammed. This could be exactly what we see here at Sensoji Temple at 11:30 on New Year's Eve. Just jammed. People in the background fighting to get in. Up they go. They're all moving forward. Look at this guy. We can see someone's bought their New Year's souvenirs. He's bought some symbolic bows and arrows. They're still wrapped together in the wrapping. He's off taking them home. Fashion, fashion, fashion. This could be right here. This could be Asakusa, 10:30 New Year's Eve. Right where I am here. Oh, Ayumi-san. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. 紙出しましたよ。そう。本当に連休は大丈夫ですか？連休。あ、そう。
そうでもちょっとお盆は、この1週間は、保育園が休みなんで、ちょっと来れたり来れなかったりなんですけど、9月のって10月いっぱい、10月
作品ですか
？8月いっぱい。
そうですね。
8月31日に
だから石川さんがもうできたんですね、もちろん。どこに石川さんができたんですが、3の方、第3者はまだ決まってないですね。そう。第2さんは2ですね。だからもう僕からのお願いできるだけ月末までは、まだ早いでしょ、まだ10日ですから。そう。
了解了解。
と見本は見本ありますか？
わかんない。石川さんの結局試しやったと、私1回目やったけど、その後。
OK。彼女の出来上がりがまだ乾かしている途中です。だから僕の今日の仕事の中にレイちゃんのものを出して、別の猫はけと石川さんのもの。じゃあこれから出しますが、この中からいろいろいやそうソロの交差とか雨の交差とかいろいろ多分ベリエーションが多いんです。だから彼女が今とりあえずだから今日2人でちょっと見ながら、
私もまだ試し途中だったんでちょっと簡単にもう一回やってからやります。わかりました。
say hello. Just let me This is Ayumi-san. This is the Baron making Ayumi-san.
どこだ？
だからそうこのカメラですね。そう。いやこの僕ですね。
どっちが？
こっち僕。外のもの、外のカメラもありますが、今ちょっとオフですね。そう。This is the famous Ayumi-san, the one who came to Japan came to Tokyo from Hokkaido to make barons and stuff, and it really turned out to be a really, really fantastic printer. She's asking how many people are watching today. I don't know. 300人ぐらい。だんだん。そう。これ今305です。そう。だから be polite. We want to do more videos, People are waiting for YouTube videos and the videos we made together, right? And people still comment all the time. They comment like, David is asking a question in English. And Ayumi-san, So those videos really get comments, you know. So
ね、またビデオをね、
そう
新しいの
Ayumi-san, really, there was lots of such nice comments on the videos for her. You know, there was one a while back. The guy had been going through the older time videos, and he'd seen one of the early videos about Ayumi, and he'd said sort of places, "Oh my God, I found the love of my life." The Kekkonshitai. And then he went about 2 or 3 more videos that we mentioned that Ayumi-san got married, and he said, "Oh, that's it, my life is over." So they're saying, 本当、じゃあもっとあゆみさんと一緒に作ってください。そうぜひぜひ。
ね、またちょっとね、やりたいですよね。じゃあまた。
あゆみさん、they're saying もうあゆみさん、we missed you。だからあゆみさんいない間に本当に寂しかった。
本当ですか。ありがとうございます。
昨日から北海道から？
そうです。金曜日かな。
あ、そうか。あゆみ 's family lives in Hokkaido. She came from Hokkaido and she spent 2 weeks up there.
それぐらい。
And she came back just over the weekend. So.
いや、暑くても大変だわ。
いつですか、あゆみさんのバラン制作のビデオ。出た？いや、包んでないよ。
いつかな。気長に待ってくださいとか。
She's too busy printing. Don't bother me with stuff like that. でしょ。
ね、ちょっといろいろ。じゃあまた。
OK。じゃあ今日僕も今日の仕事は動作ですね。僕も3回でやりますから。じゃあクーラー絶対入れてください。
入れます。はい、すいません。
はい、Thank you. No, you're confused. You're asking, does she have any more of her own prints in the works? There's a confusion here. We have 2 Ayumis in our organization. The Ayumi you see here, this is Ayumi, her name is now Ohashi. She used to be Ayumi Miyashita. She got married a while back and she's now Ayumi Ohashi. The Ayumi here who is making her own prints, the monster prints, the spider, the ghosts and stuff like that. That's Ayumi Shiba, or in Japanese, Shiba Ayumi. So they share the same first name, but they're not related in any way whatsoever. And this girl, she's always so happy and so cheerful. I mean, I guess everybody has bad days and stuff, but I never see this. It's always just smile, glorious smile. You know. Anyway, she's really, really nice. And she works so hard. Both Ayumis too, actually. Well, both Ayumis share that. They both work like crazy with no end to it, just want to make neat stuff and do neat stuff and have a good time and contribute and whatever. We're really lucky. They're both treasures, absolute treasures. I'm so glad that we've been able to provide a place where they themselves can dig in and work and flourish and stuff. And I'm really, really happy that's the thing that I'm, you know, my eye is going now, and it's not going to be much longer when I'm going to be able to keep actually making prints here, but that's okay. That's not my function here anymore, clearly. My function here these days is just to provide this environment, this place, and the goals, and show them the neat stuff, and just keep out of the way while these kids just blow the doors off. That's my function now here. Okay, anyway, it's been a bit mixed up today here. So, what's it today? Today's Monday morning. I'm now heading upstairs to do some sizing. I will be back here same time, same station, Japanese time, Thursday morning, Wednesday evening for most people in different parts of the world. And I'll be doing pretty much the same work you saw, just continuing on those color blocks, off and on, off and on. There will be other news. Tuesday is an accountant's meeting. Thursday is a meeting with the owner. I don't want to get into all that conversation again, but this next couple of weeks, the bean counters say close it, but for the benefit of people like Ayumi-san, we should keep it. That's sort of my conundrum right now between the two things. Anyway, talk about that more later. See you on Thursday. Thanks very much. It's been good fun chatting. I'm going to enjoy reading the stream while I'm having my lunch a bit later. See you later. Still so quiet out there today. Look at that. Death Valley today. Okay, guys. Bye for now.